Hi, today I'm going to interview Shivansh. He's a longtime friend of mine, and we know each other via Instagram. And I came to know about him after he edited a video for Digital Prateek. So currently, he is documenting his own journey on self improvement. So I would like to Shivansh introduce himself. Shivansh.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much, Sampriti, for giving me this opportunity and just like being over here and having a good conversation with you. I look forward to share some of the lessons
Yeah,
that I have learned, or
yeah.
probably just like learn something from you. But to give a brief introduction about me, my name is Shivansh Bhardwaj. I am 21 years old. I'm soon going to be 22 on 18th March 2020. That is my 22nd birthday. With that, I would like to take you all back 1 year ago, which was 18th March 2019, and that was my 21st birthday. I moved to Sydney. I'm basically from India, and I moved to Sydney last year in January. So on my 21st birthday, I have been already living in Sydney for 2 or 3 months. And that day, I just took out my phone and went to a big hall. I was living in a student accommodation, and there was this huge cinema hall kind of structure there.
Mhm.
And I went there with my tripod, which is right over there, and I put my phone on it, and I thought, let's make a video today. That was my gift that I gifted myself. I gave myself the permission to take the leap of faith and then start my content creation journey. And that time, I had no clue, some pretty honestly, that I would be having an interview 1 year from now, like with you, and this would be recorded, and then it would be put on YouTube or somewhere else, or I would have a camera in front of me which is recording myself right now, and
Uh-huh.
I'm planning to have that uh, as a content that I will create micro videos from. So at that time, it was more like just me trying to get over the fear that I had. What would people think if I say something and put it out in the world? Because I was making myself vulnerable to people's criticism. If I say
Correct.
something, put it on internet, there are so many people who can just jump to the comment section and write shit about me. What are you? Who are you? 21-year-old sharing gyan, blah, 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 motivation speaker, everything.
Correct.
But
Correct.
that time I just felt like, okay, you know what? For a second, just leave everything aside and focus on, if I want to do that. Answer was yes, I want to do that, and I just did that. And the journey since then has been fantastic. I have learned so much. I have grown so much in the last 1 year. I've met so many good people. I have made so good friendships. I'm learning new things every day. There has, like, it's not all rosy. I still made a lot of mistakes. There were times where I was um, on the verge of having, I was in a dark phase as well. In the last year, there were places where I didn't feel good. I was drained physically, mentally, but at the end of the day, it all went good. I'm happy as a kid right now. I'm like really, really enthusiastic. I'm energetic. I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to grow myself exponentially in this year and all the years ahead. So that was a very elaborated introduction, but
No, no,
yeah, that's
definitely. Of course, because people are going to know about you. So, like, to go ahead, I would like to say that you were the one who pushed me. Like, a little push is required to go ahead. Yes, you can do it. So, you were that push that yes, I can record a video for myself. So, this Jan 2020, on the first Jan, I recorded my first video. That was only because I had
right.
texted you and you said it's fine. We can. I can go ahead. So that was the time when I recorded my video. So like I said that you were that push. So what motivated you on your 21st birthday that you took that leap of faith?
First of all, I feel so happy that you took that leap of faith for yourself. And it's just cold here. It was raining, so I have to wear my jacket now. So first of all, like, congratulations for taking your leap of faith. I always say that me telling you can do it was just probably part of the story. It wasn't the whole story. You
Yeah.
already had in your mind. I didn't
Yes,
come to
it
you out
was
of
just
nowhere and
running back
tell.
of my mind.
It
But
was there, it
I
was
was not,
here,
yes.
right? Like, you
Yes.
had it in yourself. I didn't
Mhm.
do anything. You
Mhm.
had it in yourself. You were thinking about it. But sometimes what happens is, at the same time, that you need that little bit of push, that helping hand that just tells you, okay, you can do it. Like,
Mhm.
just some other voice than
Mhm.
yours that tells you, okay, you can do it. Who believes in you? For me, particularly when I started creating my content, they were like virtual mentors like Gary Vee, Digital Prateek, Vakas Hassan, that I was listening to, who were pushing me. But at the same time, it was just me chasing my curiosity and trying to get out of my comfort zone. But I believe that was the major thing that helped me take my leap of faith. And then I realized, okay, probably, just probably, not everyone uh, would be at that phase, probably at that point where they can take the leap of faith themselves. They might just need a friend who can tell them, okay, you know what, you can do it because I did it. And that's the example I tell to everyone, that we all have people like Gary Vee, Digital Deepak, Vikas Hassan, who are like at the top of the league, who are doing amazing feat of stuff. You look up to them, you get inspired from them, and you want to be them. But at the same time, when there are people like me and a lot of other content creators, you including, who are just like us. And when we see people who are very much like us doing something that we want to do, no, not somebody who is at that level, probably somebody who is at this level where you are at right now, probably
Correct.
just one step ahead, just one step ahead. When you see that person doing the things that you want to do, that makes you feel more motivated that you can do it as well. So I believe that is the role that I kind of want to play through my content. And my bigger goal is to create an impact where I was able to help people take their leap of faith and do something that they wanted to do. So I feel so happy every time I get a message that, watching your content made me start my journey. And I feel blessed, I feel grateful for that. I feel i feel happy that I'm in that position where me putting out my authenticity, honesty, and mistakes, everything is helping others. So it's just a blessing, like it's just so amazing.
So as you said, like in 4 days you will complete 1 year of this journey. So what
Right.
are the changes that you have seen, like after taking the step and after showing your face in social media and accepting everything,
Right.
all the negative comments that you are going to get, and you are like so positive about it that you have that capacity to accept it, because most of the people don't can't accept that oh god, like just one negative comment and they'll quit it. So what are your learning from that journey, and what you would like
you
to
know
say to those people
you,
who are quitting
that's
after one comment?
That's amazing. Thank you for asking that question, because earlier today, when I was coming back from my college, like today is Saturday, right? And I had a lecture, long lecture from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yeah,
And nobody wants to study on a Saturday. It's
of
just
course.
a boring thing. But the weather was good. So I was cycling. It was raining. I was just thinking that, oh, wow, in 4 days or 5 days, I don't know, I'm bad at maths, I'm going to turn 22. But you know what is something which is more exciting? I was not celebrating the fact that I will be turning 22. I was celebrating the fact that it will be 1 year since
Mm.
I started creating my content. That is a, of a bigger celebration for me. That is something that would make me more happy than my birthday itself. And I just feel that's crazy, like to be in that place where I say that, okay, me completing 1 year of my content creation journey is
Mm-hmm.
something that I feel more happy about than my birthday itself. It's just in itself tells the importance, it itself tells the story that how much that has impacted my life. I would say um, I have become a better person. And when I say become a better person, I'm saying I have become a better version of myself.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
not the best version of myself. I still make mistakes. I'm not punctual. Sometimes I still mess up things, but probably I'm learning at a better rate than I was 1 year ago. So as I said, like when I went into that room and started recording, I didn't think of that I would be recording an interview with you, or I would have two more lined up before and after. That was something that just happened. So probably an advice or just a suggestion to everyone who wants to start would be, when you're starting out, you would not have any idea what's going to happen after 1 year. And it's good to not have an idea, because if you have an idea, that kind of can like restrict you. I'm not saying don't have a bigger goal, have a purpose or something, but like have everything, but at the same time be fluid. Be just like, what, just let's just go with the flow. This is something which I feel is contradictory, where I say like I am a person who goes with the flow, but there are people who say that you should have a bigger purpose, bigger goal. And I have recently started realizing the importance of that it's true, it's important to have a bigger goal, but at the same time, I'm a person who believes everything happens for a good reason. We just go by the flow. Like me making video for Digital Prateek just was me trying to figure out how to edit video. how to learn that editing style and just creating a relationship with him. I didn't know that if I make that video, he would probably ask me to make his TikTok videos. He would
Mm.
ask me to work with him. So I've created like over 100 videos for his TikTok brand. I was working with him for his TikTok. And that started from me uh, sitting on my chair a fine day, scrolling through my Instagram and seeing a video that was a meme and taking inspiration from that, going to YouTube, spending 5-6 hours on learning how to edit that video and then sending it to Prateek without even knowing that he would like it, post it or not. You know?
Okay.
So
So
it's
he didn't
not,
ask you for that video. You just
oh
sent it
no,
for.
that was just me. Like I like he never asked for it.
Oh,
It wasn't him telling. It was just me. I wanted to learn that video. I'll tell you what happened. So I wanted to learn how to edit that video, and I was thinking of making a video of myself, like a dummy video where I would be jumping from a bed, and
uh-huh.
then like I'll take that footage. But what I thought was, if I'm trying to do that, why not create something productive that a brand can use for their content? And Prateek has been one of the people that I got inspired from, as I mentioned earlier as well.
Yes.
So I thought like that could be a good way of respect, a gift from my side to whatever he has done. Like I didn't know that he would ask me to come on his TikTok videos and work with him. So
Uh-huh.
that's the thing when I say go with the flow, just keep putting work with good intent. I was talking to this person before this podcast as well, and we were discussing the importance of karma. I'm a
Uh-huh.
strong believer that whatever you put out or whatever happens, happens for a good reason. I'll give you an example. When I was trying to find a place, the room,
The room, huh?
uh, I had difficulties finding in that because it was a time when like students come to Sydney and everyone is trying to find a place in January, February. So I was trying to find a place, and then I had to go at least 15 different places to do inspections and then kind of find this place. And there were rooms which were better than this before this. But then again, once I found this, I believe like this is the best I could have got in all those 15 rooms because it's just so cool. Just like look at this,
Ah, yeah.
like I had like two windows
Correct.
over here, and it
Correct.
just
Correct.
creates it just created an atmosphere where I feel more creative, where I feel more
You
uh,
got that positive vibe
cozy.
here.
Exactly. So everything happens for a good reason.
Yeah.
A contradictory, like a contradiction to this would be saying that you know what, when you say everything happens for a good reason, you make an effort to make things better. For example, when I say everything happens for a good reason, even something is bad is happening, I would try to look at the positive side because I would feel like, okay, this is happening for a good reason. I would probably learn something from it if it is a bad thing. If there is a problem, if there is a difficulty, surely there is a room for improvement. Surely there is something to be learned from it. And I would like learn something from it. It doesn't happen all the time. I remember particularly in August in 2019 is when I was going through a not so good phase of my life. Like I was not happy for a almost stretch of probably 1-2 months. I stopped creating content and just took a break from everything. I went like on a uh, back foot on everything. I was not just productive. I just didn't feel like doing anything. Took me a lot of time. I felt like shit that time, but took me a lot of time. A lot of my friends helped me. For example, Aniket Mishra, Ronit Magnani, uh, Chatty, all these people encouraged me, pushed me, helped me. And that's what I say, like, me creating content helped me to meet all these amazing people who now have become a support system to what I do. Got over that phase. And now when I got out of it, what I have learned is, you know what? It happens and it would happen again. But now since I've gone through it, the next time it happens, I know it's going to be finished soon. I'll get over it. So it was bad, but at the end of the day, it was good in a way that if it happens to me with again in bigger
Plus, you
intensity,
have
with
that mindset
bigger,
to face it.
exactly. So if it happens in a bigger, like intensity, if it has even more worse consequences in future, if I go from a bad phase in future, I would still would have learned the lessons from that and then be able to tread through that time as well. So that's what I mean when I say everything happens for a good reason, or you make it good. It's up to you.
Correct. Okay. So, like, once you are over your this thought procedure, do you think your Instagram bio will still stay the same? My uncooked thoughts will still stay the same, or you're going to change that bio?
What do you mean by thought process? Like, what do you
Like
mean?
you
That
said it
my
earlier.
thoughts would be
Ha
cooked,
ha.
cooked to perfection?
Yeah. when you'll achieve
I
that
believe my
perfection
thoughts would
level?
never be cooked to perfection. I think perfection is subjective. I'll give you an example. So when I shared recently, 2 days ago, I shared the first video that I created, and somebody left a comment on that video. They said, even your first video was good. Now, for them, or for a lot of people, possibly that video was a good enough video for the first post. But believe me, when I was creating it, I was scared. I felt it is bad. It's not perfect at all by any means. It was not the best I could do. So, perfection is very subjective. For me, that was not good enough. My
Okay.
content right now is not good enough in a way that I'm looking forward. I would be learning more. So, possibly 5 years from now, like I might change the username. That's just a example. Like that's an analogy isn't shit. Sometimes I just forget the words. Like that's just an example. Also, I'm studying marketing, so it's probably that, like, it positions my brand as something that i I think that is true for me. My uncooked thoughts tell that whatever I say is not like the only truth. There can be something else, but for me right now, that is my reality. 1 year from now, that might change. If I say something today which I believe is my reality, 1 year from now, when I would have gathered more information and I would look at the same problem from a different lens, probably I might say that something which I said was wrong, or it might be right. I don't know. But again, I'm not saying this to be an excuse that I can say whatever I want right now, and then 1 year from now I would just say, oh, that was wrong, and I have just evolved and blah blah blah. What I want to say
It's
is, like,
all
on the
about
positive,
mindset. The
it's about,
current
yeah,
mindset now and your mindset after 1 year.
exactly.
Uh-huh.
So I believe the major component to my uncooked thoughts, like to my username, is that me chasing perfection in a
Uh-huh.
way that can never be achieved. So
Uh-huh.
whatever I do is still something that I would look forward to learning more and more and more.
Correct. Okay. So, like, how often do you watch your previous recorded videos that you have
Oh,
recorded earlier? How often do you watch
um,
them?
that's a very good question. Nobody has asked me. You kind of put me on the spot right there. Probably, I watched them. I used, like, okay. So this is a graph I believe everyone goes through. So once you start creating your content, you watch them as many times as you can. As soon as I post it, I watched it 5, 7, 8 times again and again and again. What are the mistakes that I made? How could I have improved? Oh shit, this is bad. Having a panic attack. All this stuff. And then I would refresh. I used to refresh, like when I started content creation, refresh all the likes that I have gotten, the comments that I have received. I'll just, like, just gave me something that I was spending more time than I should have on just looking at the comments and likes.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm at a place where now if I post it, I know it's there, and I'm okay with the number of comments or the engagement it's getting. Like I'm fine with it. Like it's not that I'm chasing it in a way. It's not no longer an adrenal infused activity for me to keep refreshing and see, oh, if a new comment popped up or not. It's just that I've become more mature with it, and that is the process. That is the journey which I'm telling, that you would go through a journey. It
Uh-huh.
happens with everyone. Yesterday, somebody posted their first video.
Uh-huh.
Like I talked to them day before yesterday, and kind of like as I was saying, like probably that person needed a push. He had
Mm-hmm.
in him, but he needed a push. So I was able to give him that push, and he created his video. And now I know what would happen in his journey. He's at cloud 9, receive a lot of positive support from all the people, everyone commenting on it. He would feel happy, top of the world, will beat anything. This would happen when you post that, and that is good. You need that self-assertive confidence.
Uh-huh.
But if you let that take over your brain,
Uh-huh.
that is when problem starts happening. So probably when he posts his second video, he will not receive that amount of engagement. Why? Because
Exactly.
people like surprises. If
Uh-huh.
I'm telling you a joke, if you
Uh-huh.
already know the joke, you won't laugh. It is the surprise element in that which would make you more interested in it. So his friends or everyone who saw the video for the first time was more interested in saying, oh wow, I was not expecting this person to create a video, the first video. Now when the second, third comes, now there would be a deep dive, like nose dive in the level of engagement that he would receive. Now here is where a person has to realize that okay, now I have to learn. People have given me the encouragement. Now my second, third videos are shit, are bad. Why would people comment on it? They posted the encouragement comments on my first video. Now I have to improve and improve it to a level where people find value in it, and that value drives them to comment and engage on my content. That is the process that anyone would go through. So that has to be kept in mind. And then once you outgrow this phase, like I believe I'm trying to figure out, like, more methodological approach to this, and figuring out how I can create content about the phases one goes through when they start creating their content. And I have just created content for 1 year, like not 10 years or 11 years. So probably just sharing my one journey. And I believe all the people that I have listened to and all the friends that I have talked to have gone through the same phase. So I kind of have figure out the patterns. Could be true, could not be true, but there would be time when you feel this thing that you receive sometimes receiving positive feedback is also bad. Like, receiving positive comments also gets to your mind. Why? I'll give you my example. Last year in June or July, when I was creating a video every day, people
Mm-hmm.
would comment, like a lot of people would comment good things on it. When I
Mm-hmm.
stopped creating content and I started again, less people commented on it. I was still not receiving any negative comment. I was still getting positive comment, but the numbers of positive comments got decreased, and that made me feel bad. I was still not getting any negative feedback. How funny is that? Right?
Uh-huh.
So even the
Right.
positive feedback's number
Uh-huh.
taking a nosedive affected my mindset. And I believe this is the reason Gary Vee says, I don't give a fuck about if you are saying negative shit about me, if you are saying good shit about me. He
Correct.
doesn't let anything goes to his mind. And you learn this throughout time. Like, this is a progress. This is a process that you learn through. I'm very strong on progress, evolution. I
Mm-hmm.
always say that I'm evolving, and everyone should focus on evolving. You go through a process, you learn.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Because once I remember, just you mentioned him, Gary Vee. So I saw his one video where he said that all these likes, all these views on Instagram, which are making teenagers crazy, this should be taken away. Right. So
Right.
like the number of likes you can see on your video, or the number of people, number of times your video is viewed, these all should be taken away so that you can purely pour out your content.
Hmm.
Correct. So how much do you agree with this mindset? Like,
See,
is it
first,
going
first
to be
things,
helpful, or
right.
is it going
Yeah.
to have any negative impact?
See, what I have to say about that is, first things first, I believe the level of, okay, let me reiterate it.
Huh.
I believe the amount of progress that I have had, the level that I am at right now. I mean, like, when I say level, it's me comparing myself to my own timeline. I'm not saying like at a level which is above anyone else. It's just a level where I wasn't at 5 years ago myself, right? So when I say that, one of the major takeaway that I have learned through my, uh, you know, the process of going through things is, never take somebody's advice right away. Even if that person is your dad, even if that person is Gary Vee, even if it is a holy scripture. I know I might sound like, I'm not trying to offend anyone. It's just my personal opinion that don't take that right away.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it, add that to the resources that you have, add that thing to the things and then you find different people, you find different perspective, you read different books, you listen to different people, and now you have a pool of resources, different perspectives. Now you kind of figure out from your mental capability, your own lens, that what is right, what is wrong. If you just listen to one thing, that
Mm-hmm.
becomes your truth. That is your truth. You don't know anything else. Like, if there is a kid, I tell that kid, this, what is this color, Sampriti?
Right.
You were taught that. But if you when you were a kid, I changed that to black. Like, a kid doesn't know what color this is. It was taught by some people because this is a norm. If there is a kid, I tell that kid, this is black and this is white. That is reality. That is his reality. He would believe in that until Sampriti comes to that kid and tells that, no, this is not black, this is white. So, that is what I mean. This is just an example, very basic one, but you listen to a lot of people, and
Right.
then is when you expand your horizon, and you then kind of figure out what is right, what is wrong from your own personal experience. What is majority of the people believing, or even if the minority is believing, is that right, is that wrong? Like, I believe, like, you have to have a scale to judge everything in a good way, not judge like judgmental judge, but having the capability of analyzing things and decoding things and then trying to understand things. This is very important. So back to your example, I took it just to another place. You meant what I believe when Gary Vee says that. So I believe it's very subjective. It's very subjective. What I mean by that is probably what he's saying is for the people who gets discouraged by seeing negative comments or the number of likes they are getting. But at the same time, I believe there are people who would want to have some comments, who would have want to have some likes from their family members, from friends who encourage them, because they need that push. If they post something, if they cannot see how it is kind of performing, it might demotivate them. Also, if nobody is commenting on it, they might not get the feedbacks they want. How
Correct.
would they judge that what video performed better than others? What are the things that people like? A lot of metrics goes into it. So Gary Vee's, all these big people, when they're saying a statement which is sounds fancy, it's good. It's like it has a marketing proposition to it as well. Like it sounds fancy, it sounds good. We
Correct.
as human beings love reading quotes and one liners, so all of this is also being played. At
Uh-huh.
the same time, I love Gary Vee. I'm not saying like anything bad about him,
Uh-huh.
but there has to be subjectivity. So
Correct.
even whatever I am saying
Mhm.
is just my truth. Don't listen to what I am saying. Add that to the resources you have, along with all the things that you have listened to, and then analyze and understand from your own lens.
That's a great point of view, like you said. Okay, like you don't you are not saying against his mindset also, but at the same time you are displaying your point of view that is just opposite to him, not wrong but opposite to it, and that's
Opposite,
definitely your
yeah. And sometimes he's right too. Like that is
Mhm.
somebody's reality. Now
Mhm.
the point is also that when you get negative comment, you know what, like I'll share this. This is not your example, but I think like this could be a good lesson that I have learned.
Mhm.
I feel, first of all, I feel so happy and grateful that I don't receive much of negative comments, or like I haven't actually, like the percentage would be 2 to 98%. 98% are positive, encouraging, uplifting comments, DMs, and everything. Just 2% would be some people saying you don't know jack shit, or what are you even talking about. Just
Mhm.
2%, and that is like just blows my mind away. Like I would have never thought when I was starting, like 21-year-old me would
Yeah.
have never thought that I would just receive 2% of that.
Negative comment.
Like,
So like when you had
and I'm
started at that time, you were expecting lots of negative comment like that, something.
I wasn't expecting. I wasn't just expecting. Like
Oh,
I had fear. I had fear that people, what would people think about it? But I wasn't expecting good or bad feedback. Like I asked people to give me feedback, but I wasn't expecting कि हाँ क्या बोलेंगे क्या नहीं बोलेंगे. I was like done with it.
done.
But somewhere along the line, there would have been time definitely where I felt like, oh shit, this video might not perform good. And there has been time like I openly admit
You
that
had no hope with that video and that got viral.
they didn't.
Ye-
Yeah, probably like that got viral in a way that helped me
uh-huh.
to just believe in myself. But what I'm trying to say here is like there has been times where I
Mhm.
have deleted the stuff that I posted just because after posting it I felt like, okay shit, this is not good enough to be uh, on online, so I deleted it.
Okay.
And that happens, and you would go through that process as well. It's the process. People think
Mhm.
making mistakes and accepting them is wrong. I believe make mistakes, accept them, learn from them. If I made a mistake, I shouldn't hide away from it. I made a mistake, I openly admit that. I learned from that. I shouldn't make that again. And now I'm sharing that because the next time probably somebody else is making that mistake. They might remember, oh shit, Shivansh made the same mistake and then he learned from it. Probably I shouldn't make that mistake again. So that is when you share and accept your mistakes. That helps the whole society as well. But back to the point of negative comments, what I believe when somebody commented negative on my post, I don't remember the exact words, but that person said, why should we listen to 21-year-old random kid on internet sharing his thoughts? That was his comment. Now I could have just shut him off, like, you don't know jack shit, why are you commenting negative, or just deleted that comment. The
Uh-huh.
way I looked at it was that I had an empathy for that person. I believe like possibly, you know could be like his reality is different, could be just that he feels that way. The way I commented was, can you please explain why you think that? And at the same time, I was firm on my ground and I said, why would I listen to your comment? You are just another kid, or could be an adult, random person commenting on my video. Why should I listen to you? Isn't that ironical? So I said that, but in a way, that wasn't shutting that person off. I was open to having a debate. I asked that, why do you think what I said was wrong? And then we had a long conversation where a lot of people who are in my community also jumped into that comment thread and kind of shut that person down. Like, like they
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 tried to
actually
shut him
started,
off. Ha ha ha.
yeah, in sense like the people who and I'm really happy, like people actually, like, went out of their way to help me when I was facing that, the comment. Like they go, found that post, went to the comment section and just said that to person, why, who are you, blah blah blah. But I at the same time had a long healthy debate with that person.
Ha
At
ha
the
ha.
end of the, like at the end of the comment thread, I believe like it was a happy ending. Like, I was firm on my stand, he was firm on his stand. That's okay. That's okay. So if you are facing any negative criticism as well, probably if you are authentic, if you're honest, ask that person why you think that. Or if you get like, sometimes it would happen that you just are so popular that the amount of negativity you are getting is like big, not bigger than the positive like amount. For example, what I mean is, like, right now I'm small, like I just have started, so I might have 5 negative comments and then 20 positive comments. I can still deal with 5 negative comments. What happens is, if I grow after 5 years, these 5 could turn into 500, and these 20 could turn into 20,000. I still have more positive comments, but these, like, this is a bigger pool as well. So it's hard for me to have a healthy debate with everyone else.
Everyone.
Probably
Ha.
that time I would just ignore that, because I would have already had a debate with so many people. I would feel like I shouldn't do it again and again and again. That would be a waste of my time. So it's again process that you go through.
Correct, correct, correct. So, just for knowledge, when you are going into some stage, like you're not like feeling like doing anything and you're feeling demotivated, still you feel that way sometimes, not like you used to feel earlier. So what you do, like I saw your recent post that you started with meditation and all. So how does that help you, like not meditation but the way that you're thinking, how does it help you to come over that phase?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Like,
Like you started
how?
making videos on doing meditation as well. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so when you are going into that zone, like when you're not feeling like doing anything, how is that helping you to come off that zone?
See, sometimes even today when I don't feel like doing anything, I might just like go to my bed and sleep. Like it happens. Like I'm still unproductive. If I feel like,
Haha,
uh, honestly, like I might just like wake up late at 10 a.m.
haha.
If I don't feel like doing anything, there would be days where I would be unproductive, won't do things. And I believe again, this is phase of life. You go through bad shit, you go through good shit.
Mhm,
So that time I try to reinforce. I need
mhm,
good positive vibes. I need good people in my life. I need, external reinforcement, as in like when you are in a war, you need enforcements coming in to help you get through a tough time. So what
mhm,
I do is I like have mentors that I call. Vakas is one of the mentors that I have. Recently in January, I was feeling unproductive for not just one day but for a week. So I legit talked to him like, hey, I need some advice, I need some guidance, can you please get on a call? And he's an amazing person, took out time from his busy schedule. We talked for a while, helped me get through it. There are some more mentors, then there are my friends who helped me through that. So I believe when you are at that place, one of the things that you can do is ask for reinforcements from other people. So your support network is really important at that time. Also, I believe writing could help. So this is like my diary, that where I keep my journals and I write stuff. So whenever I go through some bad period of time, not every time, but sometimes I just write it down. So what happens is, it reminds me of the bad times, but also I write good stuff and I'm feeling productive. So I can just like flip through my pages, go to the bad ones, go to the good ones, see I have been there, see I've been there. So it's
haha.
kind of like my own life. Like it's my own life. It's not somebody else's life. I'm not looking up an example of Elon Musk who failed in his so many companies and then he became successful. Like this right over here, that is good. Like I'm reading his book. Like it's amazing. It's an inspirational story. But this is my story, right? Who would you personally feel more connected to, probably yourself. So this is one of the ways that I do, that I would just like go to the productive happy day where I do like where did I a lot of things where I had like probably like today had 9 to 5 lectures, then came back, had my food, then have 3 podcast sessions now. So at the end of the day, I would just like write it down, and possibly what I do is like I write lessons that I learned from that day. So at the same time, okay, this is a very good thing that I should mention now. I write a lot of stuff. I write a lot of stuff, like good amount of stuff, and it's called like for me, it's reflections, reflecting back upon how I acted in a situation, possibly what I did was good, what was bad, and how could I improve in the next one. So these are
Yes.
some of the things that I can add in my reflections. I'll give you a real life example. I was at a Toastmasters meeting. Do you know Toastmasters?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was at a Toastmasters meeting, and then I was speaking, right? So what I did was that when I was speaking, I was aware of what I'm saying. I was aware. I was in the present. I was not rushing through. I was not having thousand thoughts in my mind of what other people are thinking, because I have overcome that phase now. Again, process, progress. I'm at the position where I can feel confident enough standing in front of 20, 25, 30 people and just be aware of myself and not think and rush through my script. I have overcame that. So again, process, right? Now when I spoke, what I did was I was aware of what I was saying. As soon as I sat back on the seat, on my chair, I took out my phone and I wrote down some of the things that I said was right, were good. Some of the things that I can work upon, I could improve. I remember like one thing that I mentioned that was good was me standing firm on both of my feet and then taking pauses between my speech, just like this, not rushing through. Because when you take pauses, it helps the person who is listening to you better understand your facts. So this is a good thing. I wrote that down. Why I wrote that down? Because that time I did it, but possibly next time I go on the stage, I might forget it. So I wrote it down because that way it is documenting somewhere. And probably even if I don't read that note again, because I wrote it first, it was in my mind, but now I added one more sense to it. Like, sense, there are 6 senses. So I wrote it down, tuck, 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 touch my keypad, tuck, 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 tuck. There was a sentence that I read was visual. So something that was just in my head was now on my screen and I could read it. So that reinforced that thing in my mind. Second, which I felt like could be improved, could have been me, like it was related to the topic that I had. It was related to how could I have structured that topic. So this is a part of reflection I had. For an example, I would give you an example. Right now I have this diary and it says like your name, right? And
Yes.
this is this is the one that I was talking to Nizom, which I had like a podcast episode before this. So what I do is like if I'm having a podcast session with anyone, I just like write down all the things that I am doing, what I'm doing wrong, what I can learn from you, like what did I learn from Sampriti? I would write it down after after this podcast session, or probably during this podcast session. What did I do wrong? How can I improve? So I believe this is active learning. You're learning when there is no lessons being taught.
Dot.
Like, you know, this is a very good way of learning things. When you, for an example, I'll give an example. Since you are into digital marketing, you would like to know about marketing. You see a good copy, you see a good advertisement, and you feel good about it. If there is anything that you feel good about it, if you see something and you see, oh wow, this is a good thing, what I do is I try to decode it. How did they make that? What was the font that they used? What was the graphic that they used? What was the visuals that they use? There is no lesson being taught. Like, this is not somebody teaching advertisement. It's just a good advertisement that I looked at and I'm trying to decode it. I'm trying to learn from it. So there is no lesson being taught, but you're learning from it. So this is a very good and fast and efficient way of learning things.
Correct. That's great. That's great. Like, I learned this point that I should also like keep on writing down my thoughts. I do that them, but I don't usually write like what I'm learning. I don't know if it's in my mind. It comes out in the form of one liners, like one line memes and all are
Yeah,
there. It comes out in that kind of form. So I
that's
keep
fine.
writing, but
That's
I
fine.
never post
Whatever
it
comes
out.
out.
Hmm, ha, ha, ha. So you said that you made a video.
Possibly of all the things that I write, I only post 50% of it. 50% I keep
You
myself.
can't expose
That's
everything. Like few things should be personal to you as well, is it?
It's not about exposing. No, it's not just
Uh-huh.
about exposing. Like I would want to have that out in the world, because if I learn something, I would love other people to have that as well. But the problem is, I have more context to that problem. When I was writing it, there was an experience that I was going through. There was probably a 2 hour long lecture, and that made me write that stuff. So for me to explain that 2 hour lecture to where I come and wrote that one liner, like I would write just one line. When I read it back, sometimes I forget, like, why did I write that? Because there
Uh-huh.
was a context. Sometimes when if you're having a conversation with me or with somebody else, there was this light bulb moment where you thought of something. No, shit, this is so good, and you write it down. It's just one sentence, and then you forget what was the context to it. So probably this is the thing. But again, I would take your advice. I would take your feedback that I should be sharing that. So I'm just gonna write. That's right here is my lesson from it, that I should possibly this could be one of the ways that I can create more content where I can share all the things that I write and reflect upon. So yeah, thank you for that.
Okay. So, would you like to share your working experience with Digital Prateek? You said you worked with him for
Yeah,
a little bit of
sure. Yeah.
time.
So
So, how was it?
yeah,
Like,
I worked for him for probably 1.5 months. I created over like 100 videos for his TikTok ban,
that's great.
and he has an amazing work ethic. Uh, I absolutely was blown away by the work ethic he has, and for him, uh, it's more about execution. He's very strong on execution. He
Exactly.
execute things very fast. Like, you know what the problem is with a lot of people like us? We have ideas in our mind, but we're
Uh-huh.
too afraid to take actions and execute that, like in real life, making that idea thought a reality. The process between that gap, a lot of us can never cross. For
Mm-hmm.
him, that gap is very close. If he thinks about something, if he has an idea, if he has something to execute upon, he would be very quick to execute that. So I
Exactly.
believe that is his core competency, that has garnered him all the, like, love, and the popularity he has now. So apart from that, what I learned about myself was that I am shit at work ethic, because that was the first time I was working with someone. So
You're
there
just
was
getting started, and he's already gone through that phase.
exactly the progress and the process. And now when I was working with him, I went through it as well,
Yeah.
right? So I learned.
Mhm.
So there were
Yes.
times that he would want 3 videos every day by 10 a.m. and I would be just late by possibly 2 3 hours. That was bad on my part, that I had almost 24 hours to create it. I postponed it. So how to prioritize stuff is something that I learned about myself, that I had to start learning that. Other than that, I learned that the importance of patience. Okay, Sampriti, let's do this. I have done this example, like I've done this activity a lot of times. Give me top three picks. Give me top three people that you look up to, who you
Uh,
find very inspiring,
right now,
encouraging.
for me, it's like I listen to Gary Vee a lot, so he's inspiring for
Okay,
me.
I'm
My
gonna
dad.
write it down.
Yeah,
Gary
sure.
Vee, your dad, awesome.
And there is
One
one
more.
this lecturer who taught me programming when I was in 11th and 12th. So I look upon
Uh,
her a lot of times because
is
I'll share her story if you're interested. So like she's one woman army. So she has
right.
this institute running in our town. She's the only one lecturer. She owns the
How
whole
how how
institute.
old she is?
I don't know. Like, she looks too young. Probably in her thirties. In her
Okay,
thirties, and she's the only woman in whole
right,
institute, and she handles over 20 batches, and each
right,
batch has 20 to 30 students.
right.
So that rush at a time, 5 batches are there, and handling that huge amount of
Yeah,
students, plus the varieties of students are coming. BCA students are coming, BCM students are coming, BSc in computers
right.
are coming, 11 12 computers are coming. Apart
A
from
lot
that,
of, yeah.
certification students are also coming. So the way she is switching around, at a time she is switching her mindset like almost 5 to 6 times. And
Yeah.
over that, I was there, who was this single person who visited there for a course that was not in her curriculum. She was not
Okay.
supposed to teach that something. forgot that. Some language or something like database or something like that. I
Right.
went to learn for with her. Yeah, visual basics. So that was not in her curriculum. She was not teaching, but she said that you are the only girl, so I can teach it to you. So I used to sit in the waiting area when she used to teach it, and she used to give me this, okay, write a program for this, how you will do it and execute it. I'll be here within 10 minutes. Within that 10 minutes, she used to go in 4 different classes and she used to come back to me. So
Wow. Yeah,
like,
that's like a multitasking at
yeah,
the best.
but that was extreme level of multitasking that I have seen so far. So that she's still there in my mind. Like, it's been 5 to 6 years, but still I look upon to her.
Yeah.
And then of
People
course
who leave
parents.
an impact on you, you never forget them. Like
Yeah,
people
and
who really,
probably I don't think I'll ever be forget to her. So yeah, she's the one I look upon to. And
that's
then Gary
amazing.
and parents.
Right. And your dad. Okay. So this is the activity that I have done like more than 5 or 7 times now. It's not a research, scientific research proven. It's just like a very casual stuff. What I try to convey from this activity is, do you know the age of Gary Vee?
44, 45, something like that.
He's in 40s. How old is your dad?
50s.
50s. And then the lecture was 30, you just mentioned. The problem with us youngster is we want it quick. We just want to be next Gary Vee with the next year. We want to be next Digital Prateek in 2 years. We feel like why we are not at that level. What I have realized is all these people have gone through a process, have gone through a proper progress. Like Gary Vee keeps on saying, have patience, micro speed, macro, something like that. Like patience is what he says. And then, uh, there is this famous saying everyone says that don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody's 1,000. That's the problem with us. A lot of us. I had the same problem. When I created my first video, I was disheartened that why it's not good enough with the person who was my age, but it was not good enough. Now, when I did more research, first, probably that person is naturally better at speaking than I am. Second, that person, even if he is 21, created his first video when he was 16. So that 4 years gave him the confidence, gave him the skills required to be at that level. So even if you look at somebody who is younger and have achieved a lot of good things, you would trace back their success to when they were a kid, when they were 10, 12 years old. Elon Musk made his first coded his first game when he was 12. So it's not that he just came into picture when he was 30. He was doing stuff since he was a kid. So it's never too late. Like probably it's never too late to start. But at the same time, I always say that if you have something in your mind and you're not starting it, you're already late. Like you should have. I feel that I should have started creating my content creation journey when I was 18 because I
Yes.
thought about it, but I didn't start.
Yes.
So you are never too late. You can always start, but at the same time, if you have some dream, if you have something that you want to do it. So
Correct.
from Pratik as well, I learned that he's in his 30s and he has been doing things since he was 20. So
20s.
those 10 years, nobody knew him. He just came into like, this big spotlight since last 1 year or 2 years. So he has been putting stuff and creating stuff, doing stuff since last 10 years. Those 8 years were his preparation. So for me, next 5 years is me laying my foundations. It's not that I demand. Like, why would I even deserve somebody's attention when I'm not at that level? By that level, I mean like when I haven't worked, paid my dues enough, like I haven't honed my skills, I haven't evolved enough. Why would I deserve somebody talking to me and listening to me for an hour or somebody else? I won't. I'm still learning. I'm making mistakes. I'm going through the progress. But 5 or 6 years from now, when I would have gone through a lot of process, would have made mistakes, learned from that probably that time I would deserve that attention. That is what is happening with Gary Vee, Digital Pratik, that they now demand that thing because we look at them and then we can see all the things that they went through, the hard work that they went through, and that level they are. So we look up to them.
Correct. That's great learning for me for the day from you. So like, this is my first interview I'm ever taking, as I told you before recording this session. So what are my
Yeah.
mistakes you came to like see?
mistakes, probably like not mistakes, but there was some area of like improvements that I shared with you in the beginning itself, that when you are creating or starting an interview,
Mm-hmm.
probably if you're recording a podcast, introduce the other guest, like just a brief introduction, just the name. It doesn't have to be 5 pages long introduction.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I would say that uh, like you're an amazing person in a way that you made it very comfortable for me to share my lessons, my thoughts. I wrote it down that be a good listener. So I believe like you're a good listener, even when we are talking on this uh, Zoom call. I can see the facial expressions that you make. You don't have a static face. That's something that I have to work upon. Like if you are speaking and I'm listening, I usually am like this.
Yeah, again,
I
like
have a
when
very
you are
flat face.
recording your video and when like you are the one who is talking, then there is this constant energy and this constant like smile on your face. So how
Absolutely.
is that with you? How is that possible with you? How do you do that? Like
Okay,
where is
first
this all
first of all,
energy coming
first
from?
of all, wait, take the compliment first. Let me complete my compliment. So the thing that I was saying is like you have a very animated face. Like, you have a very animated face in a sense that when I was sharing my stories, I can look at you and I could see that you are interested in my story. You are interested in listening to me. So that made me want to share more and more and made me more comfortable to be here and then
Absolutely.
just talk to you. So that is an amazing thing. I am going to learn that that you have to be more enthusiastic. It's just the way that just that is I'm an asshole for saying that, but I just like love talking more than I love listening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But also, I'm a good listener in the sense that if I'm learning from somebody, I would try to shut up. I'm
Mhm.
trying to listen more, speak less. If I'm learning from somebody, just observe things and be that silent listener. So this is one thing that I would work upon. The second point was, how do I have that energy when I'm speaking? First, I have said that before as well. It's not that I just open up my camera, I'm like, hey everyone, blah blah blah. Sometimes I have to force that smile. I have to, if I had a bad day, I had a shit day, I cannot just like look at the camera and go like, woohoo. I have
Mhm.
to, sometimes it doesn't happen. But at the same point, if I had a bad day, if I'm making a video, why would you listen to me if I like, hey, my name is Shivansh and this video, I'm gonna share this? You won't
Correct,
listen to
correct.
that. It's
Yeah,
not
no,
it's not
never.
attention grabbing, it's not entertaining enough, it's not like even if it has value, people have this thing that you have value, but you have to package it the right way. I just study marketing, so I relate a lot of things
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
marketing, a lot of things in our
Mhm.
daily lives with marketing. So if you have a great product, probably if you haven't marketed it good, nobody would listen to it. So sometimes if I'm not in a mood to create the video and I'm pushing myself to make the video, I would force that smile on my face, because
Mhm.
first that would help me to have a good thing. You know
Mhm.
what, let's do this example. See, that's the thing. I
Mhm.
didn't say anything, I just had a stupid big smile on my face, and that helped you to have a smile.
Huh.
It creates a better
Correct,
environment,
correct.
atmosphere. So that's the
Mhm.
reason. Like, it's not just with you. If I had a bad day, and try this, this was one of my first videos that went viral, in the sense like was had very good engagement, was about smile as well. So I
Mhm.
encourage people, if you're having a bad day, just put a force of fake smile on your face, because that fake smile would help you to have a genuine smile in a way, because it is scientifically proven that there are some hormones or some muscle and blah blah blah, the science stuff, but I just know the basic stuff that it helps. So
Mhm.
that's the thing. When I started, I have to be energetic. I have to be good. And on a good day, if I had a good day, I love making videos. If I had a good day, like it's just the icing on the cake. I start the video and I'm like, "Ooh, let's go." So that's probably it. Yeah, that would be it.
Okay, so Shivans, right now you are in Sydney. So, in short, just can you share your story, like from Delhi to Sydney? Uh, how and why, and
Right.
like.
It has been an amazing journey, is what I would say. I believe everything happens for a good reason, as I said earlier in this conversation as well. And probably me moving to Sydney helped me to take the leap of faith, because here I had more time to myself, in a way that I was living alone. I felt homesick, and everything went
Mm,
not so good, was good, not so good. I'm grateful that I have like wonderful parents, like have one of the best parents in the world, if not the best, who supported my decision, who are supporting me like financially, and even by letting me, allowing me to come here, because they're the ones supporting me financially, and they were the one who made this happen. I wouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
been in Sydney if it wasn't for them. So I'm so thankful for them. But for me then to take that experience and make the best out of it was on me. I know some friends who came here and haven't
Uh-huh.
improved themselves. They are still the same that they were back home in India. And I always say it's not that you moving to a new country that helps you to become a better person. It could be your country, it could be your room. You sitting in this room could do
Mm-hmm.
something different than you wouldn't have done yesterday and improve. But
Correct.
change is important.
Correct.
Change is important. That change could be small, like you
Mm-hmm.
moving to a different place, or not even moving. I say like you learning a new thing is a change. You
Mm-hmm.
joining a new club or society if you're in college is a change. You recording this podcast episode is a
Mm-hmm.
change. You haven't done this before. You would
No.
learn from this.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So
Correct.
change is what you should chase. It could be anything. But for me, it was a huge change coming to a new country. And then it was me upon me, how do I get the best out of it? So I started going out, meeting new people from different cultures, making mistakes. My English was bad last year because it just wasn't good enough.
Indian
So I would
English.
what?
Just kind of Indian English.
Yeah. So I had like my English was bad. It had even now it has grammatical errors. Sometimes I cannot find the right words to use, but has improved radically from
Mm-hmm.
where I was 1 year ago. So the journey has been fantastic. And again, right now this year at the same time, because this is my last year of education. So in 2019, I went very in the first 6 months after creating my first video. I was very focused and went very strong on video creation, on my content creation, and I had this virtual world around me where I was just sitting in my room making videos. Didn't go out enough, so I felt like that was somewhere where I feel I can learn stuff from. So this year I would take just a step back on not wasting time. I would still create content, but probably not scroll down endlessly or just refresh to see how many people commented. That would be the time would I would rather go out in the clubs and society, meet people from different cultures, interact with them, take different stuff and everything, go out in the real world and then learn from it, because that was one of the reasons I moved to Sydney, that this would be a change, new people, new place, everything. So I'm looking forward to it. I believe this year would be a place where I would learn from the mistakes that I made last year. I would still make mistakes. There's no guarantee that I cannot stop making mistakes. I would still make mistakes even this year. It's not that this year would be just like, progress. It would be progress. Like this year would be like, how do I say it? This year won't just be no mistakes. There would be mistakes, but there would be
Little
learnings as
mistakes.
well.
Yeah.
Big mistakes as well, but there would be lessons that I would learn, and not just this year, but year on. It's a loop. It's like you just keep going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe like I would stop ranting now. I've taken too much time of yours. I'm
No,
just
no.
gonna.
Just before
Uh,
ending this interview, I would just take your 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, not even 3 minutes. Actually, I wrote down one list in this rapid
yeah.
fire round. So I'll just give you the
Oh.
option and
Oh
you'll just
wow.
select the
I
one.
haven't.
Just
I've
4 to
never
5
done a
options.
rapid fire.
Yeah,
Wait.
yeah,
Let me get ready. Let me get ready. Okay.
yeah.
I'm ready. Let's go.
So, freelancing or 9 to 5 job?
Freelancing.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Gym or park?
Park.
iPhone or Android?
Android.
Last one, early bird or night owl?
This is a tough one. Huh. Sure. I want to be a early riser, but then I am a late bird, so probably somewhere in the middle.
Fine. Okay, so that's all from my side. Anything like you would like to add on that I missed to ask and you would like others to know about you?
I think this was the most extensive interview or a podcast episode, if it was a podcast or just a conversation I have ever been in for a long period of time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. As I said before, you made me share my story in a way that I was very interested in sharing it. And you were a very good listener.
Thank you.
So thank you for actually just like, having this conversation.
Yeah. Thank you, Shivansh, for your help. It means a lot. Like it was my first time to take your interview. Like it means a lot to me because, as I said, that because of you, I started doing videos. I started that starting my camera and recording the video. So like I feel lucky that the one who pushed me, I am interviewing that person. So if you could relate to it, you can relate to it. So that's all from my side. uh, you must be getting late for another one. Until next time. Okay.
Next
Bye
time.
bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Bye bye.
Bye, have a great day.
You too.